Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Tristan Rallings, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Corporal Josh Evans. We warmly welcome Wing Commander Michael Garside, Australian War Memorial Air Force Fellow, and Mr. John Webster, representing Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families who love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they love, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Kevin Campbell Waight. Kevin Waight was born on the 24th of August 1923 in West Maitland, New South Wales, the son of Leslie and Ina Waight. His father was a taxi driver and proprietor in the region, as was his father before him. Kevin attended East Maitland Boys High School and was a keen tennis player and swimmer. At the age of 18, Waight was attending Newcastle Technical College and working as an apprentice electrical fitter for the West Maitland Municipal Council when he enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 15th of August 1942. He trained as an observer and in December embarked from Sydney for overseas service, arriving in Canada the following month. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Waight was one of almost 27,000 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who joined Australian and British squadrons in Britain throughout the course of the war. After thorough training as a navigator, in May 1943, Waight was made sergeant and gained his wings. In June, he again embarked, this time for the United Kingdom. Further training followed, during which he was promoted to flight sergeant. On the 12th of April 1944, he was posted to 467 Squadron RAAF. On the night of the 10th of May, 31 Lancaster bombers from numbers 463rd and 467 Squadrons RAAF departed as part of a major RAF raid from Waddington, England. Their target was the heavily defended railway yards at Lille in France. Flight Sergeant Waight was the navigator with Lancaster POJ. The raid cost the squadrons heavily. 12 Lancasters were lost and 50 airmen were recorded as casualties of the mission. Among those killed was Flight Sergeant Kevin Waight. His Lancaster failed to return to base and he was presumed to have been shot down by enemy action. After the war, it was determined that the aircraft had exploded above the target, killing all on board. The dead included 4 Australians: Flying Officer John Tucker and Harry Kraut, Pilot Officer Douglas Hislop and Flight Sergeant Bernard Cody, and British Sergeants George Bennett and Bertram Longhurst. The airmen who died in the raid were buried by the Germans in the surrounding area. After the war, the remains of the Commonwealth servicemen buried in Europe were examined and identified where possible. Waite's remains were identified in the Helmers-Lille Communal Cemetery, about 4 kilometres east of Lille. He had been buried along with his comrades, and wreaths and flowers had been laid by local civilians. Waight was later reinterred at Helmers under the inscription, "His duty nobly done, ever remembered." He was 20 years old. Flight Sergeant Kevin Waite's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is one of the many stories of the service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We will now remember Flight Sergeant Kevin Campbell Waight, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.